Netease has shut down Nagoshi after a Game Awards trailer in which we saw the biggest knockoff I've ever seen in my life. Mighty Number 9, but with Yakuza. The exact same thing, but with a chubbier Chinese protagonist. Okay, we were told that Gang of Dragon, which is in no way affiliated with Like a Dragon, which is the Japanese name for Yakuza, like, this was going to be the next big thing. Nagoshi was going to kill it. The Chinese were going to fund this project, and it was going to be amazing. We were told that this was going to be a big thing. Like, oh, wait, please ignore all those those articles about how Netease was cutting funding and how they were struggling putting this out, like, because they just showed a Game Awards trailer. And we know if something comes out at the Game Awards, if something is announced at Jeff Keighley's Shill Show, that obviously means it's going to be a huge success. Gang of Dragon has been defunded. They have informed employees that they are stripping them of their funding, and now they're struggling to see if they can get another backer to get this game out. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think it's a cope, by the way. There's no way they're going to get anyone to fund this thing. Like, they're done, okay? Nagoshi went behind Sega's back. He left them to go with the Chinese to support Netease, and he got swindled, okay? Because this is the weird thing you keep hearing when it comes to gamer culture and what's going on right now. Like, we keep getting told that, like, the Chinese are taking over and they're dominating and they have, like, the greatest game developers in the world. You know, we saw this with, like, you know, Black Myth Wukong and, like, Genshin and stuff like that. We were told over and over again that these were the biggest games in the industry and that the country was taking over the industry. And the reality of it is quite a bit different, you know? Like, they're not doing well because of, like, actually selling games to consumers. Like, they're doing well on paper because they're essentially propaganda arms of the CCP. So, the reason why Black Myth Wukong can sell, like, 30 million units, allegedly, is because the Chinese government is, like, backing this product and just, like, kind of forcing it everywhere, right? The idea, of course, is probably to just, like, kind of get their foot in their door, the foot in the door and try to be competitive on a global stage. You know, we've seen this a couple of times, but what's interesting about this is how many, like, Japanese developers really thought they could just go to the Chinese and continue what they were doing unabated. So, you know, Nagoshi, of course, like, ran Like a Dragon into the ground because he was so determined to keep the franchise off of Nintendo hardware. He was so determined to not support Nintendo and continue sucking Sony cock. And when that started falling through, like, after the failure of the Sakura Wars reboot and all the newer Yakuza games, he jumped ship and tried doing the same thing again at Netease. Okay, that's basically what happened in a nutshell. Like, people will tell you, like, some other story, but, like, that's basically what happened, is that this guy had a long string of failures, and then he tried jumping ship to another company using his name as collateral to, like, try and, like, build this project, okay? So, he makes this new game. He spends the past, like, several years, I think, 5 years, making something that was exactly the same as Yakuza, right? It had no originality. It was not, like, fun or cool or original. It was the exact same thing with a different protagonist, okay? Like, and, like, it just felt so pointless, you know? Like, I was shocked when I saw the trailer for this thing and saw just how, like, how much of a knockoff it was. I was very, very surprised that this guy would leave the company, have the complete freedom to make his own studio, and just immediately go back to what he was doing before. There's no originality, there's no creativity, there's nothing, right? And that's really frustrating for me as 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 someone who's been watching this, to see how this guy was endlessly glazed during the Yakuza 0 period, how this guy was hyped up as an industry talent, how he was hyped up as, I would argue, like one of the absolute last, like, Japanese PlayStation developers. You know, like the absolute last person to hold the line and keep telling everyone that Nintendo consoles were for kids, and that Yakuza would never ever release on them, right? Like, this is the guy that tried very, very hard to keep the fraud going in forever. Okay, like he left his job at Sega to keep up the farce. He left the job at Sega to continue the facade that Nintendo was for kids. Okay, like that meant more to him than anything, and this is the end result of it. Like, he couldn't get his next project out the door, and considering his age and considering how Yakuza itself is falling off a cliff, like, there will be no recovery. What's he gonna do? Make a completely different game? He's kind of demonstrated that he doesn't want to do that. Like, he just wants to do the same thing over and over and over again with, like, the soap opera stories and, like, the gangsters not acting like gangsters, and just, like, the overall just laziness of it is just needs to be seen to be believed. Okay, this guy left Yakuza, one of the most repetitive formulaic IPs in Japan, and then just made a Mighty Number 9 clone of it where it's the exact same thing. I cannot imagine being so creatively stagnant that that's what you do, where you go out and you make an entirely new company just to do the same thing that you were doing before. It's downright pathetic. And a lot of fans really thought that Nagoshi would be able to come out, that he'd be able to, like, come out and just demolish Like a Dragon, like, easily, because those games have been falling off, you know? Like, that was a narrative for a while there, is that, like, oh no, Gangs of Dragon is going to be way better than Yakuza 3 Kiwami Dark Tides. Like, it's going to be so much better, and it's just not. Like, that's the reality of what we're seeing from the Japanese right now. Like, that's the reality of what we're seeing from, like, these industry stars. You know, people like Harada, people like Nagoshi, people like that Danganronpa guy. Like, every time they leave and make a new project, inevitably, they always have to go back to what they were doing before, because nothing they do is ever going to be as popular as what they were doing, like, 10 years ago. Like, all they can do is just do the same thing over and over and over again, because they haven't cultivated their creativity, they haven't expanded their portfolios, they have not really been leaders and innovated, developing new interesting properties on Nintendo. On Nintendo consoles. They have just made every excuse in the book to be lazy, to be uncreative, and have just stagnated. And this is the end result of that attitude.